What up? It's the Drop of Dimes podcast. I'm your host, Mark Veer. Welcome to episode number 6 with coaches Annissa Jackson and Tina Camacho. Ladies, how we doing?
Good.
I'm great.
Appreciate you both coming on. I know you're about to get busy in your season. I'll do some quick intros and we'll dive into it. Annissa, you have been a head coach for 18 years and currently in your 7th year at Wagner High School. And then Tina, 37 years as a head coach and your 4th year at Judson. So a lot of experience here today. Excited to have you both on. You two have been cracking me up all week in our group chat, and I don't expect anything different today. But I do want to kick off the podcast with you, Tina. Talk to me about your two relationship and how you guys met.
So I could say Annissa, when she played at Sam Houston and went on and was a great player at Texas. When I was at Holmes, I would have a lot of open gyms. And I'm talking, that was when kids would come out. We would have 25 to 30 athletes, adults, and Annissa would come. She was playing at Texas. I mean, we had to have a dry erase board just to have teams. Okay, we're only going to 7 because we were trying to get everybody to play. But I met Annissa from there pretty much when she would come to play at Holmes High School, and I'd always ask her to bring me some Texas gear, and she never. But yes, so it's been since she was a player at Texas.
Okay, awesome. And then Annissa, let's touch on your journey. I just asked you earlier off pod. You were born and raised in San Antonio. I know you played at Sam Houston, Texas. Had a little stint with Indiana Fever and the WNBA. But talk to me about your journey as a player and then where you are today as a head coach at Wagner.
My journey as a player, I mean, man, I can definitely say as a player, like basketball took me places that I never thought I would dream of going. Coming from being a kid from the east side in San Antonio, Sam Houston, like I knew like my grandmother didn't have money for me to go to college. So I knew like, man, okay, I got to get a scholarship. So I worked my butt off, got to Texas, and man, some of the greatest times of my life was at Texas. Coach Conrad, shout out, Coach. Great woman. I actually talked to her last week. She's just an amazing lady. Definitely influenced me to be a coach. I think it was my freshman year. I hurt my knee, and so I was out for the season. And she was like, "Hey, anytime you're in the gym, like I want you up. I want you helping coaching." And that's when I fell in love with. I'm like, okay, this is what I need to do. I just, basketball's took me many places. Traveled the world playing basketball, and just now coaching it. I love it. I love coaching, helping young ladies become women, and just using basketball as a tool to get to the next level, not only to play but to get a free education.
Love it. Thanks for both sharing that. I know you both have listened to the previous podcast, and we've started every episode with this question. It's a loaded question, so however you want to answer it. Tina, we'll start with you, but where do you feel San Antonio basketball is today?
I definitely think it's better. Is it where we want it to be? I mean, I don't know. I think San Antonio basketball goes in cycles, and like back in the day, and I'm going to speak from like my past experience when I first started. People wouldn't expect San Antonio teams to be in the state tournament. I remember East Central being there. I remember when Pam Owens from Taft, God bless her soul. I remember when she went. That's when I was at Holmes. Then I think it just slowly evolved to where they can do it. So why can't we? I think they broke little barriers. And like I say, I see it in cycles. Today, I don't know, San Antonio basketball, there's just so many all-star athletes, but they're spread out through San Antonio. Back in the day when I was at Wagner, I was blessed to have like 5 D1 kids on our roster. It just varies from day to day. So like I said, it used to be the Houston and Dallas, but I think we've broken it open. And all these teams that are getting there, Wagner, Judson, veterans, it's at a good spot, but it could still be better.
Appreciate it. Annissa?
I definitely agree with Camacho. Is getting better, definitely not where we want it. Something I would love to see how the Dallas area do. They always have the ability to open up gyms. Gym space is not an issue there. They're running tournaments. They're doing all this stuff. I'm like, man, like, why can't we do this? I feel like it's so many like red tape. Like, it's just so much stuff that we got to go through to get a gym to be open. Like, especially like if our kids, if somebody want to have a tournament, host a tournament, do something, like, I just feel like we got to have more availability when it comes to that, because it's giving our kids opportunity. We have coaches that want to bring in, top recruits, bring in people like different McDonald voters. Man, they don't have a gym. It was something like that. But you go to Houston, Dallas, I promise you, Duncanville, DeSoto, they gyms are open every weekend. I feel like every weekend there's a tournament, something's going on. But I do agree with you, Camacho, when you it goes into cycles, because there was a minute like when I was coming up, like we had teams like shoot, my team we went to state back to back when I was in high school, you know, and then Jetson was good, Taft was good when I was in high school. Then it was John Jay. It's a cycle thing, but I definitely think AAU has grown. I shout out to Ray, SA Finest. That's what LA grew up with. You know, Ray has done a great job for the women of San Antonio, keeping us on the map, and these kids are doing well. I'm glad that, you know, our kids are staying here to play and not going somewhere else, going outside of the state or the city to play. And Ray has a big influence on that, you know. And yeah, shout out to, you know, Devon with Players First, you know, and SA Hoops Elite, you know, all the other organizations as well. But of course, I'm speaking on Ray because that's where my thighs live, because that's what we, you know, played.
Let me ask you, don't you think, Annissa, don't you think back in the day when we had the open gyms, son, like I could, you know, we had 30 or 40 kids. We tried. The kids, to me, the kids, I don't want to say they're not working as hard as they used to, but there's so many opportunities for them. They do more training, I think, on their own. If I say I'm going to have an open gym and I, you know, text Coach Jackson and I text Steele and Johnson and Brandeis and everybody, I maybe get 2 or 3 that will show up from other schools. I don't know. I don't think they know about like how it used to be. I mean, and I do because I started, of course, 30 years ago. But if somebody does have an open gym, I don't know, you'll get a few from the outside, and that really hurts. That it's not like how it used to be.
No, I definitely agree with you on that, because a lot of these kids are doing personalized training. You know, back then, me and Ty, we had no trainer. Let's go to the gym. Let's go play against boys. We played against boys. We did that, and that's how we worked on our game. And I do think like these kids, not saying, and I do feel like they are, a lot of kids are like a lot more skilled than we were back in the day. We were just athletic. We were way more athletic, but a lot of these kids are skilled, really skilled, because they specialize in it. You know, they're training early. You know, they're working on this stuff early, and you have to nowadays, you know, because they just not giving scholarships out. I tell my girls this all the time. They definitely not just giving scholarships out there because money is coming with these scholarships. You're just not getting a scholarship. You also get money with it. So you got to be ready to go when you get there.
Yeah, Tina, I'm glad you touched on that, because that was I had something written down here. Boomman talked about how San Antonio has lost community. I think he was talking more on the boys' side, right? But the city's grown so much, to your point, so many opportunities, so many AAU teams, so many tournaments, so many skills trainers, the opportunities are endless out there. But I've said this a lot. There's not kids playing pickup anymore. And you started the podcast by saying, I met Annissa at an open gym. There is no open gyms anymore, right? And I agree with you, Annissa. The kids are way more skilled today, but I don't think they're as tough. I don't think they figure stuff out. They're very robotic, right? They're just not in pickup games. So we've talked about community. If we've got too many personal trainers and everybody comes together, and the goal is obviously the student athlete, everyone should be pushing, hey, Coach Camacho's got an open gym. Personal trainers, AAU coaches, high school coaches, everybody needs to go to that. We need to have the best 25, 35 players over there. Is that where we're at? Is that where we can get it where it needs to be, like you touched on?
I definitely think that will help. Like, I think that's where the direction we need to go.
Okay.
You know, kids getting in the gym just playing against each other, and like not just playing around. Like when we've had open gym, it's like, no, I want to win because I want to stay on the court.
Yeah.
Right.
Like my name is up there. Like I'm not coming off. Like I remember, man, there were times where we had like I'm playing like 6 or 7 games in a row, and like no, I'm not trying to get off. Like my team, we come to win. Like we are playing hard against each other. I don't think these kids now.
I made the rule: if you win 5, you got to get off. And he
Yeah,
off.
that was just a crazy rule.
Or if you got enough kids in the gym, you lose, you're gonna sit for a while.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why you want to win, and that helps you compete. And you hit on it too, Mark. Like a lot of these, they just so soft. Like you have got to be tougher. Like you are not gonna make it at the next level if you soft and you are mentally weak.
It's happened quickly over like maybe less than 10 years. And I still talk to a lot of my Admiral parents. They say it's the parents today. What are your thoughts on that? Is it the parents that are making their kids soft? Is it a combination? What do you think? Because you guys have seen a lot of kids and a lot of parents over the years.
You can go first, Camacho.
I think These kids think that they are owed something. If you
100%.
talk to people, the word entitlement is going to come up.
Yep.
Yes.
They're not owed. They have to work. They have to earn what they want, and they don't. They don't. The parents are giving them stuff. They're giving them shoes. They're giving them. I mean, I spend more time teaching our kids to, and I'm not bashing our parents and stuff. I'm just saying over the time, I spend more time teaching our girls to be gracious to what they receive and to work hard. Like, I don't know, work for your uniform, work for practice gear, but everything's handed to them. So they come in and they have that feeling about them.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you, Camacho. But I can say too, I feel like a lot of parents are trying to give their kids what they didn't have growing up. So
Yep.
that's a big thing because I'm guilty of it because my grandmother raised me. Both my parents weren't there, and I'm like, LA gonna have this. She gonna have this. She ain't gonna have the struggle. But also, it got to be a balance because I mean, y'all see me coach LA. Like I'm hard on LA. You got to make all A's. Because I told her this since she was little. If you don't get a scholarship, you go into the military because nobody paid for me to go to school. So figure it out. And I know some parents would probably be like, "Oh my God, she's crazy." But no, like nothing is gonna be given to you. You got to go earn everything that you want. And Camacho, I agree with you. Like a lot of parents like just give their kids whatever, and then that, like I said, that goes back to a lot of our parents are like trying to give their kids what they didn't have.
One thing that I cannot do not like is a parent will give their kids money for as many points that they score. Oh yeah, if you however many points you score, that's how many dollars you're gonna get. And right there, that just takes everything. It's about
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
I've heard it before. Believe me. How about steals, or how about give
Right.
them
Yeah.
steals or
Rebounds
rebounds
or something. Yeah.
or I mean, for points, no, that's no bueno.
They do it in the soccer world with my son. I hear it. You score goals, you get this. It's just they become ball hogs, right? I'm like, it's not. It doesn't even become a team sport anymore. I've heard it too. It's absolute
Yeah.
madness. I
Yeah.
appreciate you both touching on that. Coming from you two, I appreciate the honesty as well. That's what the podcast is about. And from you two have been around this game a lot, see it change. I think that's going to really hit home to a lot of parents. Being to my next one, Annissa, I had here talk about being a mom and a coach. We've had a lot of other coaches on here that are in their space with their athletes. So just talk to me about the relationship and how you're able to do both during the season and then out of the season.
We've definitely grown since our freshman year. It's definitely balanced. LA doesn't get to call me mom at work. Uh, she calls me coach. Her freshman year, I think it was more me adjusting than LA because being her mom, like I seen every single little thing that she did, like every little thing, and something I would not get on somebody else for, I was getting on her just because she's my kid. I don't want people saying like she's being easy on her or all that stuff or whatever. And I remember it was after one practice, I was getting on her, getting on her, getting on her. And after the practice, she came to me and she was like, "Oh my God, you got on me. Every little thing that I did, you got on me. But somebody just did the same thing and you didn't say anything." And I just had to take a step back. I was like, "Oh my, she's right." Because at the end of the day, she's my kid. So I'm going to see every single thing that she does or don't do. After she told me that, I took a step back and I looked myself in the mirror. Here, she's just like any other player. And once I figured that out, it was great. Our relationship it got even better. But it was definitely a lesson to learn, and it's definitely a lot of balance with that. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love coaching her. I love coaching my kid because I know what I'm gonna get from her every single day. Every single game, I know what I'm gonna get. So I'm just like, let's go. And people think that's all we talk about. Like the girls always say, "What are we gonna do today? What's your mom?" And she's like, y'all think we talk about basketball at home? We don't. We sit on the couch, we watch Netflix, we get our nails done. We don't talk about basketball at home. And after the game, parents made this rule up where we have a 10-minute rule. After the game, it's 10 minutes, we get to talk about the game. After that, I was like that. When he first told me, I was like, that's not going to be enough time. And the first time we did it, I was like, how much time I got left? I probably don't even got that much time left. Oh, you got like 5 minutes left. I was like, what? So I would recommend that to any parent. Give yourself a 10-minute rule. And after that, we don't get to talk about it anymore. It's over.
Yeah, he brought that up on the very first podcast.
Okay.
And Lupe even said it didn't start that way, but it was eventually got there. But he said the same thing, is you don't realize how long 10 minutes really is. You get over it, and then you're quick with your words, you're done, and then you can move on. A lot of parents had said, wow, I love that. And I'm going to start doing that. So that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing with that. All right, next question for you, Tina. How invested are you guys on your middle school program, or kids that are going to be feeding into your high schools?
You got to be 100% invested. Are we going to lose some? Yeah, we're going to lose some. You may have a kid that they may play with their AU or whatever, but it's all good. But you got to have your camps. You got to go down there. We send our assistants down to our two middle schools. And you want to make their transition to high school easier for them. You want them to be comfortable when they come to us. I wish our seasons were different. When I was at Northside one time, during our basketball season, it was volleyball, and during volleyball season, it was basketball for them. So it was easier for us to get down. But we are blessed to have where we don't have to teach as coordinators. We do get down there as much as we can. I have two middle schools that feed into us, so it is important. And to, even if they're coming to you, to go and watch them when they're playing in the summer, because you may lose them. They're going to other districts, and we want to keep our kids inside our district.
Yeah, Annissa.
Man, feeder schools is definitely important. Just getting over there early so those kids can see you and know you, and it's not going over there trying to coach or anything, but I just want them to see me, hey, oh, coach is up here. Oh, that's the Wagner coach. Those kids get excited when they see you. Take some of our players over there sometimes when we can, to just be over there to watch, take players to games, those kids get excited about that. Definitely, like Camacho said, holding camps, for them to come and see and try to get that high school experience before they get over there, because it's definitely a transition from 8th grade to 9th grade, especially if you're not playing club. It's a transition for an incoming 9th grader coming from middle school to high school. It's a jump, just like it's a jump from going from high school to college, and just trying to get those, kids to understand that. But the more we get over there, the better for those kids.
Okay, awesome. Next thing, let's talk about AAU programs. So what is your relationship? Tina, you can go first with the AAU programs here. And then do you recommend players to go play in certain programs?
Well, people probably know, of course, how invested Annissa is with Ray, and I am too with SA Finest. And that's not to say I do have other kids playing for great programs as well. I think the stigma of the stereotype that we don't get along. I want those AAU coaches to say, hey, what do you need? Like, I'll use, Kayla, what does she need to work on with us to help you in her high school career? If they can converse with us and talk to us about what they need, then absolutely, I want that. But I also want them to understand, and I leave them alone. We can't touch them in the summer. And also, when it comes back to, okay, now there's a high school season and there's an AAU season, and please understand that if they have to go to the TABC showcase, okay, we're not going to have anything during that time because y'all are going with your high school. Just work with us like that. And the majority of them do. I don't have any problems with it. I respect them because I'm thinking that we can work together. And Ray does a great job with that. And I know just the experience of Ray, he's a father, elite athletes. He's been in the college system. And I think he's learned a lot. I talk to him a lot, and I think he has changed a lot of how he used to be back in the day when he first got to San Antonio and to where he is now. He's all about helping kids. He scholarships kids. I mean, people just don't know. Is he tough? Absolutely, he's tough. I want somebody that's tough on our kid, that's going to not be soft on them and make them a better player. And we're all trying to get to the same goal. If those kids want to go and play in college, then absolutely, then we're all behind you.
I mean, I feel like I have a great relationship with AAU coaches. Again, like everybody knows, LA played for Ray. Played for the finals, been with the finals since she was in second, third grade. So we've always had that relationship. But also, there are other great AAU organizations, in San Antonio. Devon Players First. Like I said, SA Hoops Elite. There are a lot of good organizations, and AAU and high school coaches need to be on the same page. And my thing is, you can't be an AAU coach or a trainer, well, a good one, if you don't ever come and watch your kid play in high school. Your kids, how do you know what they need to work on if you ain't never seen them play in high school? How can you train a kid if you never been to one of their games to know what they need to work on? I feel like that's a big problem. We have all these so-called quote unquote trainers, but they ain't never been to a kid game. You got to come and watch their kid play in a game, live action, to know what they need to work on. And Ray's good at this. Ray's always coming to watch the girls play. All his girls. I mean, he has tons of girls, so of course he has to like juggle it or whatever. But he's always there watching these kids play to see, and he does respect the fact that they're in high school, so we're not gonna have this. We're not gonna have no contact. But if y'all want to come get up shots, like y'all can. But there definitely has to be that mutual respect between AAU coaches and high school coaches, which I mean, I feel like I do have that respect with all AAU coaches.
Yeah, I figured it'd go that way with both of you. And I'm in this space a lot with, obviously, Devon's over here with me at the factory, and I'm close with Menasha. And then I work women's college basketball. I'm a big advocate for women's basketball. I've always felt, since I got here, the women's game is in a good space compared to the boys' game. I don't know if it's egos. D. Fleming's kind of talked on that. A lot of men in one space, a lot of egos, but it's nice to hear. It's refreshing to hear where the community is in the girls' game, and you wonder why it's in a good space and multiple teams going to state and multiple girls getting scholarships. It's a lot higher than the boys. I wonder why. And I'm glad you touched on that, because I feel if the boys can kind of copycat what everyone's doing on the female side, I think it will be, I'm just being real. I really think that's where it's at. So thanks for doing that. All right, let's dive into maybe a spicy topic. I don't know. We talked a little off pod. Let's talk about referees. I think my relationship became stronger with both of you when I started refereeing, and then it became the assigner. I got to learn a lot about you off the court, and you're tough on referees, and so was I. When I was the assigner, I was very tough on officials, and I think it's hard to work ball games for you. I've worked both your ball games, and you're tough to work for, but you demand a lot out of referees, and I'm behind that. But Annissa, we'll start with you. Where do you think refereeing here in the city is, where we're at right now today, as far as high school?
We gotta get better. Like I feel like we gotta get better. Like these past few years, like we've been to tournaments in Dallas, and those refs are different. They look a lot different than our refs. They call a lot different. They let the kids play. I like a handful of refs, and the refs already know. Like I like a handful, and yeah, like I'm tough, but I think I'm respectful. And sometimes I just want to know like why that call was made, because this and this happened. And for the ones that can tell me, like I can respect that, like, boom, okay, I got you, thank you. So I can tell my girls how to fix that. But then there's other ones like you can't tell me why you made that call, but you didn't make that call before. I don't know what we need to do, but we need to get younger refs. I don't feel like there's enough younger refs reffing our games to keep up with the pace and speed. Because if you come into ref one of my games, you're going to have a long night because you're going to be running. Because that's what we do. We're going to run, but I just don't feel like we have enough young refs. And I don't know what it is. They just don't want to ref or something, but we don't have a lot of young refs like how we used to have. So, I mean, not knocking the refs that we have, because we do have some good refs. Don't get me wrong. We do have some good referees. But I just think like we need to mold younger refs so they can grow and be in those spots.
Yeah, appreciate your honesty. You want to add to it, Tina?
Well, I know there's a shortage, right? Because you can't find a lot of good people that want to stay in it, or the older ones are leaving. And yes, we definitely need to get younger ones. I do see them trying to recruit. Northeast has the class.
Yeah, we tried to start the class. Yeah.
So yeah, we need to get the younger ones coming in that know basketball, like past athletes and stuff like that. But I don't know. Sometimes I feel like with so many chapters, they were just battling against each other sometimes. I don't want to see a referee come in with a chip on the shoulder and act like they have to, rule the game. Let just work with the coaches, work with the kids. And I know Annissa and I probably have like an aura about us, about how we are with the rest. I think we both learned that we want to be told why at the time. And then if you're going to make a call, why are you making it? So we can help our kids. That's it. And yeah. I don't know, but I understand there is a shortage. I love how the clinic, like we just did the Wanda Gonzalez Classic. I love that there's so many people coming in and trying to learn and to get better. I mean, I see what they go through. They came in the night before and went through film. They went out on the court and went over stuff. So I get it that they are trying to be better, and I love that.
Yeah. Also, too, though, just hitting back to when we get to the playoffs and we're playing like the Houston and Dallas teams, I tell my girls all the time, look, when we get there, they are going to let us play, especially when we go to tournaments. We not in San Antonio. They not calling ticky-tack fouls. You're going to have to lock in and focus, and you're going to have to finish through contact because they do let you play. It's just different. I don't know why it's so different. Mark, maybe you can touch on it, but it is different. And I got to I gotta get my girls' mindset to switch when we go play in Dallas, and then when we come back, hey, we back in San Antonio. We can't play the way we just got done playing this weekend because all y'all gonna be sitting on the bench. Why is there such a big difference?
Yeah, that's been a struggle for me. I don't mind touching on. We're going to have Reggie and Rufus on, your favorites. And
Yeah,
we're going
those
to
are my
have
favorites.
Kenny and Raphael, father and son duo, because they work a lot of AAU stuff. So the two chapter thing you touched on, Camacho, was interesting. When I first got the job as the assigner, I wanted the chapters to come together. That was my first phone call. My very first phone call and action of business I wanted to do was bring San Antonio and South Texas together. I felt we don't have enough pool of quality of referees to cover the city. I think if we join both chapters, now we're top heavy. And then you guys would see different referees every night. Because for the most part, South Texas, it's the same top 10 to 15, and the same with San Antonio. If you can get 30 and mix them up, just better look for the city. And then we got better quality referees. That unfortunately didn't work out. And that was 21 years ago when I never was even thinking about refereeing, the history behind that. So that didn't work out. And then when you talk about why is it called so tight, that was, it's based on we have a lot of older referees. Like you touched on it. We don't have a lot of young referees. So the older referees, that's how the game was. Because I've talked to a lot of veterans like, okay, we got to let them play a little bit. If a player picks up 2 fouls in the first quarter, they don't have a backup point guard that can probably come in. Let's be smart. Let's try to keep the best players in the game if we can. It just went over their head like a foul is a foul. That's how we're going to call it. They're very stuck in their old ways. So that was a struggle that I had as well. I agree. If we can get younger officials that are actually excited about refereeing, my main focus in the offseason is getting referees excited and passionate about it. You both touching it. Nobody wants to be a referee. Well, why not? You're giving back to the game. You get paid pretty good. You guys know this. The fees keep going up every 2 years. You're getting paid a decent amount of money for 2 games. I mean, it's a job. And I think
I'm
just
gonna start refereeing when I retire.
you'd be great. Love to have you. Like,
Got it.
but we try to go after ex-players, ex-coaches that have been around the game because you know the rules. Now we just got to figure out some other stuff. You're easy to kind of coach and train. So yeah, I truly believe if the chapters came together, that would be what's best for the city.
Yeah.
And then I talked to a lot of referees in Dallas. A lot of referees. I work with a lot of them, and they say that they can play through a lot more. I don't lie. I think that's absolute BS. We have some really good talent in San Antonio that is used to playing all that basketball when in the off season. And I hear it from so many coaches. If they go to a tournament earlier, and then they get to district play, it's very hard to adjust. So I agree with both of you. I think it's, again, community. We're talking about everything else we've talked about from every entity. If we're talking about referees, the moment the chapters can come together and put egos apart, that's the best product on the floor. And that's what's best for the student athletes. And then the last thing I'll touch on is none of you talked about play calling. And I'm glad you talk about communication, how referees communicate with you, and the consistency. If referees can focus on those 2 things, how am I going to talk to a coach, or am I just going to listen? And then the consistency piece, right? If we call something down here or vice versa, no call here. And that's what drives you guys crazy. So
that drives me
nuts. I know.
Insane. Oh my gosh. Can y'all get on the same page? This guy down here is letting us get beat up. But then down here, because I do, my players, we play physical. We get up in you. But if they allowed to do that to us, but we can't do that to them, come on. Just get on the same page. A conference before the game or something. I don't know.
Referee should be. They should be talking, but get their hour before the game. What game do we have? We have a Judson Wagner game. Oh boy, we're talking about coaches, both of you. We're talking about players. We're talking about style of play. What may happen? We may have a lot of plays we need to match. We may have some similar plays. So yeah, all that on the back end should be done. I think what happens is referees can say that, but the moment they get into the game, they just drop right to their training, which is not.
Oh my gosh.
They don't train enough, right? I mean, that's the problem. Is referees they're in. And I hate to say this, and I don't want to be negative because I love our referees, but you're not getting fired as a high school referee. There's not a lot of accountability there. If you miss a call, do you lose in a game? Absolutely not. You go to your next game the next night. So it's a tough balance. But I do believe that we're not in a great space, and I'm going to let Reggie and Rufus talk on that. They've been around a long time. I don't know if you know, Rufus started refereeing at 18 years old. He's been in it 24 years. He's my age. So it'd be really good to hear from him right out of high school. Of course, his dad was over at Highlands, and then Reggie's been around forever. So,
but how do we get do we need to start a committee, a vote or something to get the both of their organizations together? Like, what we need to do? Come on, Camacho, we need to start a committee or something.
Y'all go ahead.
Because especially when we start district and the guys are playing and we're playing, like Sometimes people walking, the refs walking, I'm like, who is that? I don't even know any of these people.
Yeah, that's not good. And
Yeah.
that was one of the main reasons I wanted to bring them together, based on when I knew all the splits in the chapters, right? Like, you've got 7 teams in a district, 4 with South Texas, 3. That's not good. It's just not good.
Yeah.
If we
And
just
then
come together, you know.
is when you go to the playoffs and you don't even pick your own chapter. And
Yeah.
and I don't want to do that. But I mean, if it comes down to where it's been a bad year and I haven't had any, but I mean, I'm not done that. I hear coaches that
Mhm.
they think about that, and I'm like, it doesn't look good. You know, I'm sure we can come to a conclusion about it.
No,
So, Mark, when was the last time have y'all like, or the refs like talked about coming together?
It's a good question. I'm not with the high school chapter for the last 2 years, but I still heavily involved training referees. I talk to them over there. Maybe this podcast will steer something. Maybe we'll
There
start
we
to
go.
bring that conversation back up. And I don't mind having those conversations, you know me. So yeah, if that's what has to happen, again, all entities in San Antonio need to get better. And we're touching on all of them. So I appreciate you both sharing your thoughts, and I will definitely get to work on that. All right, let's close out on some Q&As. Just a few questions. These can be for both of you. I think I know the answer to this, but I don't mind asking it. Thoughts on a freshman playing varsity? Tina, you can go first.
Absolutely. You're either a varsity player or you're a JV player or you're a freshman player. I mean, yes, I've had multiple freshmen on varsity, but those are the ones that you're going to get playing time. And I don't want a freshman on varsity and not getting any playing time and not getting any better. Have I made that mistake in the past? Probably, to a couple of kiddos. And but yeah, I mean, I totally agree with it. And if they deserve it, it's about the skill as they come in, you know. And have I put one on varsity as soon as they got onto our campus? Yeah, because I watched them in the summer and I know that they're going to play on the varsity. So that's the other reason I do like the AAU. You're getting better, and I can tell that you're going to be able to compete with the varsity. So yeah, I totally agree.
I mean, for sure, if a kid can play at the varsity level, they can play. It don't matter what their age is, what year they are. If you have the skills and the mental capacity to handle the varsity level, any day, all day. Come on. I had 3 freshmen on varsity last year, and 2 of them started. So
I knew it would go that way. I just wanted to ask the question. So I appreciate that. Next question. That's the process of recruiting during the live periods. Just educate some people on how that works with the schools that can contact you and come and watch your girls during your athletic period.
Well, I'm blessed to have I have 3 D1 kids, so they bring in the colleges. So what they do is they just call you up and say, "Hey, coach, we're interested in such and such. Can we come and watch practice?" Absolutely. So they'll just tell us the time. We tell them what our practice time is, and then they come. Even though I had Kayla, she committed early. There's still coaches that come for the other 2, but I also explain to our kids, yes, we have Rice coming for Cora, but those coaches may know somebody. You may not be that D1 player. They may have contacts with D2s or JUCOs. They may say, wow, look at that kid over there. And they have their connection. So everybody better be on point. And a practice shouldn't be any different. I tell our kids, your effort shouldn't be more just because a college coach is sitting on the sideline. If you're going to up it, then you better up it all the time, like when they're not there. You know, I do try to at least maybe do more transition stuff with them. Our practices pretty much stay the same, but like I said, maybe a little bit more transition stuff. We're blessed to have. I'll tweet it out there. I thank all the colleges that come because it's valuable. They're flying to come and watch your practice. Yes, they're going to other high schools, but that's just the way it is. It's not coming just for one person, just not coming for you. They're going to go and visit other people as well. So been blessed on that way.
I mean, she hit all the points on that one. I just think the biggest thing out of that, when the college coaches do come, those other kids just come play. Everybody knows who they're here to watch, but they just don't have eyes for that one person. They got to see what everybody else is doing. So compete. You know, you might be that diamond in the rough. You might be that person like, oh shoot, like who is that kid, coach? Who do they play club for? I know we had several coaches come to games last year, and they hit me up. Oh, coach, what number was that? Like, who? Is that they're a freshman, they're a sophomore? They coming to watch one player, but end up talking about another player as well.
All right, thanks. Last 2, advice for an athlete. And we talked a lot about this on other podcasts. There's not that many kids that get to play college. it was Coach Tapper and Coach Martinez that are over at Lee and Madison. They are not blessed to get Division One athletes on their campus, and they're fine with it, right? But they really focus on just having their kids be great high school players. And they were saying that I think a lot of kids have lost that. They're just all about college and maybe don't focus on just being a really good high school player, and that's their ceiling. What advice do you have for athletes that may be their ceiling? And is it okay just to be a really good high school player? What are your thoughts on giving some advice to an athlete in that kind of skill level? You guys have some, right? I mean, you can have some kids that are role players and then have to play with college players. And just what have you told them to be highly successful and just help those other kids, but have a really good career as a high school player?
Oh, for me, like I mean, I have matter of fact, I have a senior. Like she doesn't want to go play at the next level, but she's gonna be a real. I mean, because I had to have a talk with her. Like I'm like, hey, anytime a coach reach out to me, I'm telling them like, hey, contact her. Here's her number. She's like, Coach, I don't want to play there. I was like, oh, I wish you would have told me because I sure am throwing your name out there like that. But but she knows like she's gonna play, a key role for us, at Wagner this year. She's gonna be a big part of our success, and she's okay with that. And you as a player have to be okay with that. And Mark, you know what? Sometimes like the players are okay with being those high school play, just being a good high school player, but it's the parents that aren't okay with it. But that's where that relationship with you and that player, I think has to, come in and play an effect, and they don't let that parent, living through them have a big effect on them. Because some kids do have that where that parent is having so much of an effect on them that they just totally out of it. Like sometimes I've had to take kids out of the game because they are letting their parents get in their heads so much that they are not helping the team at all. So
appreciate that. Tina, you want to add to it?
Yeah, and I think any kid, and we talk about this in our coordinators meeting, and from Coach Corrales and everything about you go through athletics and you're going to become whatever you're going to be in life. You're going to be successful because athletics teaches you the responsibility, accountability.
Right.
You go through adversity, and so not everybody is, and we talk to our kids about that. I asked one kid, she doesn't want to play, but she's going to be a dentist. I said, well, you're going to be the best dentist out there because you were an athlete. And you look at everybody, you want those people to go through athletics because you're learning other things, and you're winning, you're losing, and you're just training to be a better woman after you graduate high school. And that doesn't have to be necessarily playing in college.
Yeah, love that. Thanks for sharing. All right, last question. Annissa, I'll start with you. We talked a little bit off pod about the importance of a strong relationship with parents, and that's something that you really, really dive into with your parents. Just talk a little bit about advice you have for your parents or any parent in a high school program.
I would just say let your coach coach. Whatever high school you go to, just let your coach be the coach. I think my parents do a great job of letting me coach. And it's because the relationships we have. Yes, the parents know that I'm tough, I'm hard, but they know I love those kids. Like I love their kids like they're my own. So they allow me to coach them the way that I coach. I can hear some of the parents and they, that's right, coach, get on it, saying all this or whatever. But also that comes with because they trust me. And that's a relationship that we develop. And I state that in my parent meeting as well. I know it's your job as that parent to worry about your sweet baby girl. I said, but us as coaches, it's our job to worry about all the sweet baby girls. So don't be at home talking about the coaches, because that affects the kid. If you're sitting there on a ride home after the game talking about the coach, bashing the coach, ain't no way that kid not gonna come to practice the next day feeling some type of way. Right. Because their parent just said this. Keep all your thoughts to yourself. I know you're not going to agree with everything Coach Jackson does. I know you're not. But just know at the end of the day, I have the best interest for the entire program, not just one person. It's the entire program. If you got some negative thoughts, keep those negative thoughts to yourself. Don't feed that negative energy to the athlete, because you can tell as a coach. You can tell because it's hard for those kids to separate that.
Yeah, appreciate that. Tina, you want to close us out?
Yeah, she said that right on point. Like the car ride home. The car ride home is huge. And if you're not supporting that coach, like she said, you're feeding negative thoughts into their mind. And then they're not going to come, they're not going to be happy. And they're getting our thoughts and what we do. But then the parent is telling them this. But that all comes with communication. I do have great parents as well. And just communicate, over communicate with them and be very transparent. truthful, be transparent to the daughter about, look, baby, you're not a D. You don't have to be D1 chasers. You're gonna get paid in D2. You can get paid in JUCO, but put the team first. It's not about an individual. It's about the team first. And man, the other thing, don't compare your daughter to maybe a stud on the team. Like if I play for Wagner, don't compare to LA. You just be you. Be the best you every day. Just get better from. And I talked to Denise Forster, we're cousins, and Ryan, her mom, Denise. I asked her. I said, "Give me just one thing that you would do with Ryan," and she's like, "It was just about her getting better." From your freshman year, or your sophomore year, just get better from your freshman year, your junior, just get better and be the best you that you can be. That's it. I mean, and stop comparing yourself to the studs on the team and the studs in the city. Just get better and be you, and get that support.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's a simple message, right? But it's hard to execute. And it happens at all levels, youth level. It's everywhere. And I love what you said. Can't compare your kid to other kids. It's hard. But that's a very toxic way to think about it. And then it's always excuses and blaming. Then it goes through your kids. So I appreciate you guys touching on that. Thank you both for sharing your evening with us. I know you guys are going to get real busy here real soon. So I appreciate you taking the time to get on here. I know practice starts in a few weeks for you guys. It's going to be a long grind. I wish you both the best of luck this season. I love where women's basketball is in the city, and it's a big part because of you two. And if you have any questions, referee questions, yes, of course, you can reach out to me throughout the season. I'll be more than happy to help. But thanks again for taking your time. I appreciate you both.
Thanks, Mark.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Dropping Dimes podcast. Make sure to go follow us on IG at Dropping Dimes Pod. Remember, each Friday we'll be dropping a new episode, so hit the follow and bell notification buttons to never miss any content. Let's get better together. We out.